it's Hannah. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a delicious Thanksgiving fall style pumpkin pie. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving at home. I know we did. Me and my older sister made a delicious Thanksgiving dinner, including this recipe. It was fabulous. I want to share it with you. And the ingredients are just the regular classic items for a regular pumpkin pie. You'll need some vanilla extract, pumpkin pie spice, some salt, some cinnamon, evaporated milk, 100% pumpkin puree, 1 egg, 3 egg yolks, light brown sugar, granulated sugar, and olive butter pie crust dough, and some all-purpose flour to help you shape this. Very easy, very simple. This crust is what I made for Thanksgiving. I made 2 batches and it keeps really well in the freezer, so I would suggest you make an extra and then keep it in the freezer. It stays there really well, and make sure it's fully defrosted. And the recipe, I necessarily don't think I need a video for it, but the ingredients, the instructions, the notes, everything will be on my website. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my surface with some flour just so that nothing sticks. A light dusting is fine. Just kind of move it around. Remove this so you can see. And you're going to put your flour or your dough right on top. You're just going to roll this. And I have my pie plate, glass plate, that I will get ready. And when you're making it bigger, you want to make sure that it's slightly bigger than the pie plate, so that when you crimp and when it bakes, it's going to shrink just a bit. So I'll show you one of the seconds there. Okay, so I rolled out my pie crust. I want you to keep in mind that this is my glass plate. It's 9.5, 24 centimeters. You're going to put it right on top, and you want that overhang. You really want that, because when you're crimping, like you're making a little design on the edges, you're going to need some space. And also when you're baking it, it's going to shrink just a bit. So keep that in mind. Also, I want you to see the streaks of butter everywhere through this whole contraption, as you can say. And it's just, that's what gives you that flakiness. You don't want your pie crust to be really soggy or of any type. So the key about making pie crust is you want for all your ingredients to be cold when you're just making this, not the pumpkin pie, the crust. So your butter must be really, really cold. But all that will be on my website, so don't worry. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pie crust, you're going to invert it to your loosely wrapped it around my rolling pin, and you're going to lift and carefully invert on your... Okay, so I put my pie crust inside my pie plate, and you want that little hang. If you have more, that's even better. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that hang and just carefully tuck it inside the plate. It gives you a thick border so you can crimp. Now I know I'm not the most creative person ever, and my crimping skills are not the best. So if you do it, it's probably gonna look way better. But you know, I try my best. So just gonna tuck in like that, so I have a really thick border to do your. So my pie crust is all folded up, and now what I'm gonna do is for crimping, you're gonna take 2 fingers and just push like that. And you're gonna do that all around your border. Okay, so I crimped all over my pie crust, and that looks pretty good. Not as bad as I expected anyway. I'm gonna take some plastic wrap, and I'm just gonna wrap like that very loosely around the handles and stuff. You're gonna put this in the freezer for 30 minutes. You wanna make sure that before you bake it, your pie crust is really cold and chilled and firm. So in the freezer, not fridge, for 30 minutes. Okay, so my pie crust just came out of the freezer. Very hard and chilled. Now we're gonna pre-bake this. So before we pre-bake this, we're gonna take some parchment paper. I folded it into a triangle, folding hamburger style, half again, triangle, okay? Now you're gonna cut out the outside. Make sure it's the outside, or you're gonna have a hole in the middle. So a little something like that. And you open and you have a circle, just like that. You're gonna sprinkle so it stays in there, like that. I'm gonna take some beans or some rice or some traditional pie weight. And you just kind of put it all over. A little bit more. Like that. I'm going to press it into the creases. This will help from the pie crust puffing up. Just make sure you push it all the way to the sides. And now we're going to put this into the oven that was preheated to 450 degrees for about 17 minutes. And then we can move on to the filling. Okay, so my crust is in the oven for pre-baking, and now we're going to work on our filling, which is the main part of this whole thing. So here I have 3 egg yolks, and I'm going to crack in 1 egg, 1 full egg, 3 egg yolks. The egg yolks give it like a custard-like filling. And then we're going to add some pumpkin puree. I like using Libby's 100% pure pumpkin puree. It makes a difference. Out of the color, the flavor, everything about it is just, it makes a difference. But if you can't get Libby's, then you make sure that it's 100% pure pumpkin puree. It has to write that on the can, because if it's not, then you're not going to get that same flavor. So make sure you get all of that. And you're going to add your granulated sugar and your brown sugar, light brown sugar. And I don't like to put too much sugar in mine, not too much. Pumpkin pie shouldn't be that sweet, so not packed brown sugar, just a little less than that. You're going to add half teaspoon of cinnamon, a good amount. You want this to be very well seasoned with cinnamon and stuff. Half teaspoon of salt. Anything and everything you do should be balanced. And then 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. This makes a difference. It smells like pumpkin pie. So either make your own, but there's a lot of recipes out there. I just like to buy mine because I like to make lots of pumpkin pies. So I'm just gonna measure that out. Add your pumpkin pie spice. And now we're gonna whisk together until it's very nicely combined, a smooth pumpkin orange colored batter. It shouldn't have any lumps. You should aerate all those bubbles out. And then after that, we're gonna add everything. So everything is well blended, maybe a little bit of lumps, you can get through that later. You're gonna go ahead and add some evaporated milk. This, well, if you see before, it was really orange and really thick. This loosens it up, lightens up the color, adds a little bit of sweetness, like a lot of creaminess to it. So that's why you shouldn't add too much sugar in the beginning, so that everything cooperates together. Now you're going to gently mix this until everything is nice and combined. And once it is, we can add our vanilla extract. Vanilla extract. Not too much, just the right amount. I never measure vanilla extract. Never ever. For cooking, I never measure garlic. For the baking, I never measure vanilla extract. It's something that I never do. Okay, mix it together. My crust should be coming out of the oven in a few minutes. And once it does, we can put all this together and then start baking. Okay, so I got my pie crust out, and unfortunately it fell. I told you it wasn't the best crimper. I warned you, but it's fine. When we cover it up with the filling, it'll be fine. But if you want to make sure it's picture perfect, then I would suggest when you roll it out, you make it this much longer until you have it till here. Like I only had it till here. You should have it till like here or so that when you fold it up, you have a really thick border, and you can make that crimping stays stronger and longer. But it's fine, and it will come together. You're gonna take a fork, pierce everywhere on the bottom so that it'll trap the steam, it'll let go of the steam that's trapped in there. And then I said 450, I meant 425. So bake this at 425, okay? Keep that in mind. Okay, so all over. And you're gonna take your egg whites that I separated because we added 3 egg yolks. So this is the egg white for that. You're gonna take this and you're gonna brush it all over. This helps the crust not be soggy. It's a trick that a lot of people use. All over the bottom, and then we're gonna pop this back into the oven, which is still preheated to 425 for 5 minutes, or until the bottom is like it's not as liquidy from the egg whites, and then we can move on. crust came out of the oven at 425 for 5 minutes. My filling is perfection. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna pour this. Your crust should be completely cool. I'm gonna pour this into here, all over. My pie crust, or I put my pie filling inside my pie crust, and we put this into the oven for about 55 to 60 minutes at 350. Reduce your heat from 425 to 350. I'm gonna cook it low and slow and let the inner side, let the middle cook, okay? Now when it cooks, some people pierce it with the knife. I don't like to do that because it gives a lot of cracking to it, so just give it a little jolt, like a little shake to it, and it shouldn't be jiggling too much. So that's what I'm gonna go and do. My pie came out a couple of hours ago. It was baking for exactly 55 minutes. Remember, if yours is jiggling a bit too much in the middle, leave it for about 5 more minutes and then turn it off. Keep it on your counter for about 2 hours. You want it to completely cool. The more it sits, it sets. So you can see it's not real custardy if you look at it, but it's beautifully layered and it's not soggy of any type. The crust, the filling, and I put some whipped cream on top. It's perfection on every level, and I want you to see my slice. It stands up beautifully. I'm gonna take a small slice for myself. You can see, oops, see how that is beautiful. The creaminess, it just melts in your mouth. The crust is flaky, crispy, so you get both textures. It's not too sweet. The whipped cream, which I didn't really get, but I know it's gonna balance. It's phenomenal on every level. You have to make it. The recipe's on my site for the crust and the filling. It's on my site. Just go make it. Even though Thanksgiving's over, it's gonna be a fantastic dessert for your family, and I hope you make it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.